How can we build resilience through coaching? How can we, as coaches, help our clients build resilience? But also, how does learning how to coach help us build resilience for ourselves and the loved ones in our lives? Welcome to Erickson Live. My name is Fabian Lützig, and we have an amazing panel discussion for you today. So let's get right into it. This is one of these, another first. So we are starting out here with Ericsson Live. This is our third live stream. And today it's the first time that we have a four-woman panel. And I'm very excited because all of these ladies have amazing stories to tell and really, yeah, important trains of thought to share with you. And we'll segment the time that we have together into two major parts. In the first part, we'll check in with each and every one of them individually. So I'll ask them the same question. We'll give them a little bit of time to, you know, talk about resilience, what it is for them, why it is important to them, and what they want to share with you today. And then we'll open it up to a bit of a panel discussion. I would like you, everybody who's watching, to participate as well. So first of all, let us know where you're from. Where are you joining us from? Are you joining us from a freezing tundra like Texas, or are you joining us from a place that is warm and toasty and nice, such as Nairobi, which I'm coming in from? So everybody seems to have something to say about the weather these days. It seems to be kind of extreme everywhere. Um, so let us know how it is for you and where you're coming from, but also when our guests are talking, what questions might you have for them? The more you share what you want to know, what you want to take away from the stream today, the more we can deliver on it, and we can give you exactly what it is that you came for. All right, so let's start with the first guest today, and the first guest. Um, Let me just see that I can put her on screen here. There we are. It's Alexandra Vinagre. And Alexandra is an associate certified coach with the ICF, as well as the author and founder of the immersive self development programs called Mindset Immersions that already count 10 editions taking place on Bali, Portugal, and India. Her journey started as a coaching client 7 years ago, which inspired her to choose courage over comfort, to choose embracing a meaningful work as a coach over a 14-year sales career in the pharmaceutical industry. She loves to learn not only from training, but from life, from travel, from people, and all the experiences involved, and to integrate everything to create an approach that is open and both supportive and challenging. She loves to work with groups, both individuals and corporate, enabling a space to deepen self awareness, mindful and heart based living, intuition, values, purpose, creating a growth mindset that supports all of that, facilitating open programs, and also working with corporate clients. Wow, there's a lot in there, Alexandra. Welcome. So,
Thank you so much, Fabian.
yeah,
And it sounds better if it's you were saying, it's like it's nice to hear what you were saying. So thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to be a part of this amazing panel today.
yeah, wonderful. And you're joining us from Portugal, right?
Yes, and regarding the weather, just in case it's not snowing here, not even closer to that. So, but it's winter, so it's been not so bad for us these days.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
and
that's
I'm
good.
I'm based in
Yeah.
Lisbon.
Yeah, I mean, you guys on the Atlantic coast, you kind of have a, usually you're fine with the weather, I think. We have
Yes,
also Anne from Laval, France. We have Ella, who says it's sunny in her neck of the woods. Adrienne from White Rock, Ivana from Serbia, Anna from Kiev. So really lovely international crowd again today. So Alexandra, what is resilience to you, and why is it important for you to talk about that today?
It's a pleasure for me talking about resilience. It's I think it's been my own journey. I'm not saying since ever, because I do believe that resilience is something that first of all we can learn along the journey. Maybe we can born with a more open attitude for resilience, but I do believe that we can build. And for me, resilience is it's an attitude, a mindset. I wrote a book about growth mindset, and I do believe they are really connected. Growth mindset, and resilience. So I would say that for me, it's a mindset, it's an attitude that supports you to, I would say, reframe. I like the word reframe. Things like challenges, the effort, criticism, obstacles, in such a way that we can adapt ourselves moving forward despite of everything. So kind in the growth mindset, we talk about that. It's like the challenge. When we are resilient, we embrace that challenge, correct? So, and the criticism, we learn from that. So one thing that I'm passionate about resilience is like just like something here. I came from engineering path before. So I was totally about 1 + 1 it's 2. So everything very in the boxes, and about goals. So for me, the most amazing part about resilience is I do believe that it's not about the goal itself. It's about the journey. It's about giving meaning to the journey. And the reason I do believe that it's important to talk about that here today with our clients, with our families, with our friends, with everyone, it's because when we have this resilient mindset or attitude or whatever we want to call it, we can embrace life as it is, because life it's not like a fairy tale all the time, right? We have challenges, we have obstacles, we have everything. And being resilient, I do believe that it's a better way to live our lives, because we have meaning and you are more flexible with the things. So this is why it's important. I do believe, and I work with my clients. I do believe we as coaches work with our clients to build that as well. So I don't know if I'm saying too much right now. So
No, no, that's great. So, since you literally wrote the book on growth mindset, let's hear a little bit more about, what is that exactly for somebody who hasn't heard about that before, or maybe has heard about it and doesn't really know what it's about, and how does it tie into resilience?
Okay, so good question. So I wrote the book about resilience. So I study a lot about authors and psychologists and everyone that did proper research on that, like Carol Dweck. For the ones that really want to go deeper on that, it's a good reference. So, but in a simple way, and the way that connects with resilience is like growth mindset. It's like the fundamentals of that, it's believe that we can learn, that we can stretch ourselves. And there is this is my definition, okay? There is a twist of faith and belief there. We need to believe. That's why I also believe that kind of having the vision and the inspiration, it's important to build towards resilience, right? So growth mindset is all about that. It's like, I believe that I can grow. I believe that I can learn. I believe that effort as a meaning towards my mastery path. I believe that criticism is for learning. So all we have in the growth mindset, it's like we embrace the experience and we transform it in a good thing. We learn with growth, with everything. On the other hand, we have like the fixed mindset, which is when we do believe that, oh, I'm like this. I know what I know. This is a critic. Okay, I'm not going this way. It's like it's done. So and to have a growth mindset, you need to be resilient. So I think it's for me, it's difficult to, I don't know if all you ladies, what went ahead on this, but for me, it's difficult to separate one of the other. It's one fuels the other, I would say.
Yeah. So let me know if this is what you understand about it as well. But one example that I like around a growth mindset is that somebody with a fixed mindset would say, um, "I can't cook," for example. That's just not me.
Mhm.
I've never learned. I can't cook.
Yeah.
And somebody with a growth mindset would say something like, "Well, I can't cook yet." It's just one
Yet.
word, but it makes a
Yes.
huge difference, right? Because it's a work in progress. It's something that can still happen if I just put my mind to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And one thing that I've learned long time ago, not so long, but a little bit ago in an Erickson program, it was the value of that yet, and it that inner dialogue that we have for us and with the others, the yet, it's the difference, and once I started, I'm saying from my own experience, once I started to say that yet, it's like a relief, because there are possibilities over there. It's not like, oh, I don't know how to do this, period, so I give you an example. I share with you guys that I have a kid. I have a baby, a 4-month-old boy.
Congratulations.
And until last year, what say it again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, but until last year, it was not my plans. So, and I'm 40 years now. So, everyone was asking, "Oh, you are going to have kids?" And every time that I'm saying, "No, not, I don't have," it was like, because I didn't think about it at the time. But when I started to say I don't have yet, I was okay, because I can have it or not. I can choose. I have possibilities, I can go the journey over there, or I can choose not to do whatever. But it changes a lot, I think it open as the yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great way of phrasing it, that it opens things up. There's possibilities, things are in progress, and it gives yourself permission to grow. You don't have to be perfect right this moment. You can be, and that's where it ties into what you were saying before, you can be on the journey towards that, and that's completely okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Alexandra. Let's check in with Laurie and hear what Laurie has to say. Let me just here. Sorry, just lots of different windows. So, Laurie, let me introduce Laurie to you a little bit. Laurie is an ICF certified business and personal development coach. She partners with individuals in developing a growth mindset, there we have it, enabling them to reach their goals and get past the barriers that hold them back from success, happiness, and fulfillment. Her approach is solution focused and transformative, based on the most recent groundbreaking brain based research. She also serves as a training assistant with Erickson Coaching International. Laurie's background in human resource development and her unrelenting desire to push past barriers to reach her greatest potential led her to the world of coaching. This journey was transformational. The mission of Laurie's company, Look to Live Large, is to coach others so that they may discover and utilize their limitless capacity to live large in their own lives. Welcome, Laurie. We're glad to have you. And you might still be on mute if you have muted yourself before. It's just sign of
Yes,
the
I
times
am.
2021. It's just the way
Absolutely.
every conversation starts nowadays.
So, and you'd think I'd have that down by now, but no, no such thing. So, thank you, Fabian, for that introduction. It's great to be here with such wonderfully like-minded people, and you can tell that you're speaking my language with everything that Alexandra just said about growth mindset. It's everything for sure.
Yeah, great. So let's build on that. Laurie, what is resilience to you, and why is it important to you to talk about that today?
So, for me, resilience, it's the foundation and the cornerstone of achieving my own personal goals and for helping my clients move and reach that themselves. I've come to realize that gain an awareness and understanding of the power of words. Words have power, and they can either empower you or disempower you. And when you come to the word resilience, and you really, it's so much more than just bouncing back quickly. When you explore the nuances of what that bouncing back means, and I think hopefully we will get into more specifics about that, you understand that at this point you are in a place where you are in charge of your own life. So we know that the brain has, our brain is like a super computer. Absolutely, the technology is phenomenal. And we have a choice here. We can run it on autopilot, or we can take control and run it ourselves. And when we don't have resilience, we don't foster resilience, we're living in autopilot. So we are allowing whatever is transpiring, whatever's coming in, to us, what our stories we've created in our own lives, that is just affecting us. And really, that when we're on autopilot, we've got one main thing, that is survival and self-preservation. So you are going to make decisions automatically based on what you perceive as danger and to survive. And the other thing, part of that brain, is it's all about conserving energy. So the easiest way that you have developed, that's the way you're going to take. When you move into resilience, you are now stepping into that superpower of that supercomputer. And at this point, you are you're making the choices. You understand that it's not about what's coming in from the outside or that auto response. You can take agency and you can decide what's going on and how you choose to move forward. So so in this place you can steer, you can create, you can imagine, and you are processing processing whatever's going on. So if I might demonstrate in my own life how I came to that and what the meaning it had for me, as I started examining how I perceived certain words, the words, more importantly, that I spoke to myself, I realized that what was really important as I was moving through my career is this idea of persevering. And I thought it was such a wonderful thing, this idea to persevere no matter what. But for me, as I examined that, persevere was like my teeth are clenched. I'm determined. I am going to get there no matter what. And really and it was all fear-based, based on, and I thought, okay, if I do this long enough, somebody else outside of me is going to recognize and give me everything I want. And then when I started considering resilience, that totally changed. Because in being resilient, it was, as Alexandra said, about the journey. And it was that I was in control and I could take charge and I could decide how I wanted to move forward. So it's huge. And having that as with their growth mindset moving forward, it's a game changer.
So resilience as a superpower that puts you in the driver's seat, that lets you take the steering wheel, whatever metaphor you prefer, that lets you make conscious decisions and overcome kind of the primal programming that's hard coded into the hardware that we still are running on, and that is still making decisions sometimes if we let it, as if there was fundamental scarcity of resources of energy, and so we can come from, putting my own word in here, from abundance in a way, and make decisions that really support us and benefit us, is what I'm taking away from what you're saying.
Yeah. And if I might just add to that, it's not that we discount that side of us, that autopilot, because it serves us very well. But coming from a place of resilience and utilizing our neocortex, we can understand that all those reptilian, our emotions, and that we have agency over that also, and use that to our benefit as opposed to just reacting to it.
Got it. Thank you, Laurie. Also, lots and lots of, dense information there, concepts that maybe we can unpack a little bit in the discussion. Um, Everybody, we also will be publishing, excerpts from these conversations, and so these introductions there that are so full of wisdom and of knowledge will definitely be part of that. So look out for that on social media if you just want to watch it again, like a 2 3 minute kind of reminder of what we're talking about here. And in the meantime, as we're going through, let us also know. Thank you everybody for letting us know that you're tuning in from Sofia, from Georgia, from the Czech Republic, from Ireland, from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And let us know as well, what does resilience mean to you? And why is resilience important to you? And what are you looking to take away from the stream today when it comes to resilience? Or in terms of coaching, maybe. Maybe you're here and you're thinking about becoming a coach. You have four amazingly accomplished coaches here. Who are both experienced but also still on the journey to getting even better. So ask away. They are at your disposal. Okay, Laurie, thank you very much. We'll check in with you again in a second. In the meantime, I will introduce Libby to everybody. And Libby is also internationally certified coach with the ICF and has 20 years of experience in facilitation and management in distress centers and victim services. She's a published author and speaker. Libby specializes in supporting individuals all over the world who have been damaged from their faith experience. She supports them to connect with their own personal strengths and values and to create a life that is their own. She holds many titles, including Emotional Wellness Coach, Reclaim Your Power Coach, Clairvoyant Coach, among others, and she has a private practice in Bellwood, Ontario. Libby, welcome. That sounds very intriguing. Tell us more.
Thanks, Fabian. Well, I mean, I better probably to dive into the resilience part because I could talk about the rest of that, for hours and hours. So when you asked about, what resilience means to me and why it's important, I think of resilience as facing challenges with that opportunity towards growth. So just as Alexandra had said, embrace the experience. And just as Laurie had said, taking control. It is really very much a combination of all of those things. And I've always used the analogy of, the willow in the wind, where it's that flexibility, it's that ability to shift and change with the flowing of the wind. So an illustration as well would be, so many people, if they wake up in the morning and they stub their toe, they're like, oh, the rest of the day is ruined, and then they go through the rest of the day and it's horrible. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Whereas if you take that same situation and you stub your toe and you bend over to take a look at your toe and you're open to everything that's around you, you might notice that the ring that you lost a couple of days ago is, on the cabinet that you just stubbed your toe on, right? So it's being open to, what is an opportunity in this situation? What is an opportunity in this time of challenge to help me to be able to move forward, still being open to whatever is around you, even when things feel like they're going wrong. So it is that level of agency. It is that piece of not being on autopilot, but being open to what is it that I can do with this situation. And I think the greatest point for this, when I was in my coach training, was one of the facilitators asked the question and basically said he used this in many of his coaching sessions, is what is great about this problem? I actually have a sticky note sitting here on my desk with that very question. What is great about this problem? And suddenly it just opens things up for you, allows you to see things in a different way. What can be an opportunity here? What is a way that you can grow and change? And I think this is really important with many of my clients, because they've come from a situation where everything has been so controlled, so locked down for them, that it's always been literally Armageddon around the corner, for them to suddenly be, okay, what is the opportunity here? How is it that I can become resilient? What is the agency that I have in order to move forward? So that's where resilience comes in hand in the work that I do.
I find that endlessly fascinating, because I can just imagine that for quite a few people, I think their faith is their source of their resilience, right? And if at some point that person determines this is not doing me good, I kind of want to get out of this and I want to kind of do a complete paradigm shift, that's taken away. It's completely pulling the rug out from under themselves in a way, right? So how do you make that first step? How do you learn to become resilient all over again under completely different um, auspices?
Yeah, it's basically getting to the root of things. It's getting to the root of your own values. It's getting to the root of your own strengths, finding that resilience from within rather than expecting it to come from elsewhere, whether it is from whatever organization you're part of, or whether it's from family, or whether it's from the divine. Being able to find that resilience, that energy from within, and being open to seeing those opportunities.
Yeah. I hope we get a little bit more of a chance as we are going in the panel discussion to talk about that. And I'd love to maybe hear, one story about, when you're working with a client, or just something along those lines. So maybe go through your mental Rolodex and think of one as we are transitioning over to Michaela. And let me introduce Michaela real quick. Michaela, by the way, is coming to us from icy Texas, so we appreciate you being with us very much. Michaela is a life coach with a passion for women recovering from abusive relationships. She is an advisor for teachers, parents, and other caretakers who desire to create meaningful connections and a positive impact on children's lives. On a part-time basis, she works with Scream, Run, and Tell, a one-of-a-kind sexual abuse prevention organization that addresses abuse prevention right in the grooming stages. In her spare time, she writes children's songs and enjoys holistic activities. She's currently studying with Erickson and preparing to begin the Authentic Relating Facilitator course. Michaela, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Hi.
what is resilience to you? And maybe also, how is it colored by the kind of clients that you're working with? And why is it important for you to talk about that today?
So, resiliency, I kind of got a exposure therapy for resiliency in the past year, when I necessarily didn't set out to work on my resiliency, but I was kind of thrown into it. So I had to kind of pick up, and not only resiliency for me, for myself, but also for my daughter. I have a 3-year-old daughter. So and then I've noticed around me, as I'm connecting with other women who are in the same situation, coming out of abusive relationships, trying to rebuild their lives, trying to figure out, who am I? What am I capable of? What do I even want? How it affects their children, how to help their children to move through these traumatic experiences. And also my mom, who's a preschool teacher in Czech Republic, she sometimes call me and she'll say, I have this kid and this is what they do, and this is the struggle that they're having, and then their parents are trying to fix the behavior instead of maybe trying to give children the tools to be resilient, to be able to handle situations on their own. So it just is all around me right now. It's personally because I'm coming out of this difficult situation, and also the people I come across to. And I thought, okay, what is really resilience to me? And I had to break it down for myself. And I took myself, and I'm very visual. So I like this analogy of standing on the river bank and watching a river flow. And sometimes it goes smooth, sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's still, sometimes it's just wild with all the stuff in it. So then when I took myself in that moment of resiliency, then I kind of broke it down to 5 steps. So the first one would be the level of my presence, to even notice I have a situation rather than just reacting. Like if you're looking at the river and you see something flowing, do you just aimlessly jump to try to save it, or do you just, maybe I'll let it flow, or try to stop the flow of the river? Just the level of your presence. Then the next step would be the self-awareness, to notice that, like everyone else talked about, that we have choices. Then it would be welcoming the inner wisdom to come forward, because I believe when we are connected with ourselves, when we are focusing inward, not outward, then the wisdom will come. And so if we're not connected fully, we may not like what the wisdom is telling us, but either way, it's gonna come. Then the 4th step would be the courage to step into the direction that we decide on in that moment. And then lastly would be the acceptance, the okayness with understanding that maybe this decision we will regret later, and that's fine. Or changes will happen, new obstacles will come, but everything is okay, and then we can just go back to the step 1, noticing where we are, the levels present. So that kind of that's what resiliency is to me.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Again, glad to have you. Okay, with that, let's open it up into our panel discussion. So we have everybody on screen at the same time right now. Um, so we are, aiming with this conversation, among other things, at people who might be interested in becoming coaches. So for those people who are interested in coaching as a skill, um, how do we as coaches, or how do you as a coach specifically, help your clients to build resilience? What might be 1 or 2 elements? Maybe we can everybody put a little bit together here. Who would like to start? Libby, I see you have your hand raised.
I think it's building resourcefulness in a lot of ways. It's really connecting people with what is possible, what is it that they want, what's important to them, and being able to sort of move from where they're at right now to where they want to be. So that to me is the beginning of that. What do you say, Laurie?
And
You're
Laurie,
muted.
yes.
I hit the button. I swear I did. So, yeah, I agree with everything that you said, Libby. And what really appeals to me as I dig deeper into thinking about resilience is how beautifully this lends itself to the Erickson principle of, as a coach, you sit in that space in coach presence, knowing that the client is okay, knowing that they have the resources. And as you sit there and you ask those open-ended questions, which as we all have experienced, it can be a little bit of a shock to people who don't understand what coaching is, because they're thinking we're going to give them the answers. But when they experience that through powerful questioning, their own answers, well, that's how you start absolutely understanding that you do embody and resilience, and then you can build on that resilience.
Yeah, so with the open-ended questions that you mentioned, we help them put themselves in the driver's seat, as you were saying before, right? Because we don't give them two choices, or we don't give them advice disguised as a question. We give them a question that we don't even know the answer to, and let's see what comes up. Alexandra.
Hey, I would like to build on what Libby and Laurie already said here, and I would add another thing on the top of what you were sharing here, with the powerful questioning and the way to connect people with themselves. And one of the ways that I do believe that is important to build resilience is specifically with the question in that first part of our coaching, which is the inspiration. So what do you want and why is that important to you? And sometimes there is like a huge kind of dark hole, because at the very beginning, no one knows the answer. And I'm passionate about that part of the journey, because it's a huge place to create awareness there. And because there is, I don't know if I said that before, but I do believe that with the resilience, it's a lot of, it's like we move forward, we are flexible, we take responsibility because we believe that something better, meaningful, whatever, it's over there, it's there. So I think it's so important to build on that vision or purpose or whatever we can call it, that sense of accomplishment. I don't know, but it's I think it's a foundation, and that I think also that's the reason it's at the very beginning of the process, right? So because at the end of the day, that flexibility, and then when you are building that with our clients, in the moments of obstacles and challenges and whatever is coming, there's a reason the why we started is over there, right? So I would like to add this.
Yeah, that ties in really nicely actually with what Joao was commenting, that resilience for him is rather than enduring adversity, it's really having a clear objective and not giving up. And that's what you're talking about. It's having that objective in the first place, right? So having that clarity on what is it that I do want that I want is important for having resilience. So thank you for that. And Michaela.
Just wanted to underline with when everybody's saying to ask the client, what do you want? To stress the importance of changing, because with my small experience that I have, I mostly have people coming saying, I don't want this, and this is what I want to focus on this thing that I don't want, or I want this and I want it because I want somebody else to feel certain way or react to me certain way so that I can feel certain way. So I would say two important things. First, to change the I don't want to, what do you want? Or I want to feel less frustrated. Well, what do you want more of? Instead, to shift that. And second, to really go to their values and help them right at the beginning, kind of cut it off and have them change that. I want this so that my family appreciates me, or I want this so that my boss, and change it. Why is it important to you? Change that external, like I think Laurie and Libby were already talking about it, that external kind of pattern on the back, and put it inwardly.
Yeah, thank you. And Libby, I kind of pre-warned you I was going to come to you for a story, maybe to give us an example of how that looks in action. So what might be an example, obviously completely anonymized, but what might be an example of somebody that you supported in building resilience from scratch, basically?
Well, I think it's very much going from that place of feeling powerless to, shifting to the possibility. And it's basically starting where a person's at instead of trying to pull them into, I want, you could be over here. It's not that. It's holding the space. It's being okay with not knowing as a coach, but also holding the space for them to be okay with not knowing in the moment and just being open to what emerges. Asking questions that help get deeper than those surface answers, and really sort of connecting with those values, really being able to tease those out from everything else that's been happening so far in their life, so that they can see them and be able to utilize them so that they can move forward to where they really want to be. And just as Michaela had said, there's so many external things that they have needed in the past, and they feel that everything comes from the outside. It's being able to develop and grow from the inside so that they can create what it is that they want on the outside. And being able to move forward and being resilient and not being affected by what other people are saying and doing around them, that they can still be as they move forward. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And to anybody who's wondering, we are of course sharing a common language. You might be hearing some of that, and we all went through the same coaching program, right? We share kind of the same framework. We're all coming from an approach of solution focused coaching, Ericksonian coaching. And if sometimes it sounds a little bit like we're talking inside baseball, then we're sorry about that. We're not always aware of it, just because that is kind of the water that we swim in. Um, and if you want to understand a bit more about that, then I would invite you to check out Experience Coaching. It's a free webinar you can take with Erickson. I facilitate that sometimes. Libby, I know, does the teaching assistant services around that sometimes. Where, yeah, it's several hours where you can dive into what is coaching, how can you use it, and that sort of thing. And of course, the art and science of coaching is always there as an amazing transformative coaching program that doesn't only allow you to empower others and work with others and help them build resilience, but it's also a self-development program in disguise, in a way. You learn a lot about yourself as you're going through that program. And that's actually where I want to check in next. As you have been learning how to be a coach and holding that space for others and all these other things, how has that impacted your own resilience? Laurie, I think you were first.
I was tempted to start talking on mute just because I'm kind of doing the comic
Just to stick
relief
with
in
it.
the,
Yeah.
I love this conversation. I mean, such rich information coming from all these learned ladies that I have the honor of sharing this time with. I have to go back to saying, how has it impacted? Well, everything I've come to learn as a coach, it is an inside job. And to be the best coach possible, it's about learning more and more about yourself. And when you can, I remember my first session when I stepped into Erickson with taking the program with module 1, and being excited but not really knowing what would transpire. And it was absolutely amazing. The opening, like, I'm a self-help junkie for decades, and I got it intellectually. I read all these books. Nothing compared to when I went through the coaching program, because not only are you learning the skills, you are applying those skills right away, and you are, and just to bring this back to this whole thing about, you are building resilience by going through the program, by understanding the processes that are available to you and who you are and the values. So Yeah, it's again, I have to say, regardless of whether you take coaching to a level where you want to be a coach, the idea of exploration, how coaching explores, is there's no comparison. I will say this too, as much as you can get to a point where you can even do some self-coaching, and it is helpful. But I still am amazed, even when I'm dealing with students as a TA. I demo. I have to be the demo, so I bring a real life situation to the class so they can practice. And what emerges from their offerings is always just a reminder of how great this whole way of approaching life is. Can tell I'm a little excited about coaching.
Yes, it definitely shows. And Laurie, you and I were having a conversation in preparation for the call today, and based on what we were saying there, I wanted to ask you, do you think that there's such a point where you would say, "Oh well, now it's too late to start with coaching," or maybe, I'm too young. I just like coaches have to have so much experience, and I'm not ready yet to be a coach because I'm only 22 or something. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think you're very kind in the way you presented that question to me. But, yeah, but that's just it. That's part of, and I'm going to go, what everybody's saying. Alexandra talked about that growth mindset. When you step into that world, you find out it's not about your age, it's not about a demographic, and you open up to possibilities. And I'm really, and it is never too late. And the other thing I just want to really bring home, because Alexandra mentioned that, and I share this belief that it is not just something you are born with. Resilience is a skill you can absolutely develop, and it would be, and to really, I would encourage people to explore that, because you step into, like, not in having resilience, you step into confidence, you step into creativity, you step into focus, and you step into positivity. It's all those things wrapped up in one. So yes, never too late. And if anything, you bring with you, with people that are older like myself, and I embrace that. I embrace my years, and it just opens up the future in such a bigger way for me. So I think it's a great question, and I'm really thankful that you asked that of me, Fabian.
Absolutely. And just from my side, just from the days of being a management consultant, and most of my life I've been the youngest person in the room for some reason, and I think it's also never too early to start learning about coaching and to become a coach, because we're not giving people advice, but we're holding the space, as we've been saying several times now, and that is something that is really complementary to a lot of jobs and a lot of careers that you can have out there. But even as a 19, 20-year-old person, you can bring amazing insight to a lot of people who think they have it all figured out, but maybe there's even more for them to discover, and you can be the person to help them with that. Who wants to go next? Everybody has their hand raised. Let's go with Alexandra.
Oops, I was trying to unmute myself. So, there's so many nice things being shared. So I wanted to pick a little bit from everyone. And regarding the coaching, how my coaching practice and me learning as a coach impacted my own resilience. It's a little bit of I don't know if it was Laurie that mentioned that about that inside job, but it's there's no way to separate things. Like when we start to learn how to coach, and like we start with the 5 principles, there's no way that down the line they don't become you. It's not something that you can turn it off, so slowly and slowly, as we are learning and see what these kind of beliefs, like people are okay and change is inevitable and all of that, it's like it changes you. It's not a performance thing. It's something that you say, oh, let me see, what if actually everything people are okay? What if change is inevitable. Okay, so we can build on that. And I found very, very interesting because at the very beginning, with coaching, I also start to become more curious and more eager to embrace the uncertainty, because sometimes we ask, all the time we ask questions that we have no idea what will be the other side. And I was having my friends say, oh, there you are, this is not coaching, this is friendship. No, but it's like I don't want to talk anymore. I prefer to listen. I prefer to ask questions. It's like, again, it changes the way, even when we study for coaching, we can, being a coach is an option, right? But it changes a lot who you are as a person. So that inside job and the beliefs you hold and the attitude we change, that we present ourselves. Also, it's amazing the way we can develop that. And I think resilience is completely attached to that set of beliefs and everything.
Okay, thank you. Let's go with Michaela next. Michaela, you're still going through that process of learning the ins and outs of going to be of being a coach, and so yeah, let's let us in on that. What does that bring up? How is that?
I'm so excited to talk about this because, like you're saying, I'm just in it right now, and it made me laugh, Laurie, when she was saying earlier about, some things didn't make sense to me when I came into coaching, like asking the client what might be some of the action steps. And I'm thinking, what? You tell me. I know nothing. Tell me step by step, word by word, what should I do? And I think Fabian said that to you probably during when Fabian was one of my teachers. So, but then I experienced and understood what it is to work from values, from the depths of our values. So then it shifted. But so for me personally, being in the school, when I started studying with Erickson, I was already 8 months deep in a divorce hell, living in the RV, 35-foot travel trailer, Texas, with a 3-year-old, having no family, COVID, in the midst of COVID. So we were a little isolated. Then some of the classes were at 5 in the morning, and I was just kind of, well, anyway. So when I started this class, I was knee deep in fear. I was so scared. I felt like I have no options. There's nothing really good. I have to wait for something to happen or someone to do something. So then I've learned about as if shifts and about changing statements to positive. So to explain, I wrote down, and I made it as a ritual that I did every single day. I would write down what I don't want or what bothers me, and then I change it into positive. What do I want instead? Then I worked on my vision. What do I want? No limits. What do I want? And every day I switched into as if shift, and I wrote it down. And when my daughter went to sleep, I imagined myself as if I'm already having it. And oh my gosh, then imagined, and I took full advantage of our neocortex for us to be able to imagine things that are not happening. And then the chemistry of my body, I felt like someone shot me with some drug, just the chemical reactions to what I was imagining. And by that, not only did I feel better, even though I'm not having it, I'm still in the RV, I'm still, have nothing, but I felt great because my brain believes what we focus on. So then it was, I'm not really a believer, but let's say as if universe said, oh, now you're connected to your values, now you're connected to yourself, here, there you go. And then I would have these unbelievable things and opportunities coming to my way. And then we go back to resiliency. How am I present? How am I self-aware and all that stuff? The second thing that Erickson coaching helped me with was my parenting. It tremendously, I was always kind of that hippie mom doing, gentle, let's talk about feelings. Let's. So I was already on that journey. But then talking about the five principles, and I wrote some notes so I don't ramble. So, uh, and again, this is with the 3-year-old. So we don't have to wait till the people are already grown up. We can start from when they're very little. So understanding that one of the principles is understanding that the person already has all the resources and all the wisdom. So for my daughter would be asking her open-ended questions instead of giving her answers. She would, I don't know, spell something, and I would ask, curious, what were you trying to do? Instead of, oh my gosh, why did you blah blah blah, or she would ask me, Mom, why is this? And instead of giving her the answer, I would say, why do you think? Or I'm sad. I'm curious. What are some of the things? And again, not what's one thing, but what are some of the things? So she already understands. She has options. Some of the things you can do when you feel sad, where I made a song about it. Now, when kids come up themselves and just the level of competency that they feel and excitement and everything. Second principle, people are okay as they are. If she's scared, mad, tantrum, whatever, everything's okay. I don't need to try to fix her. I can just be there and hold the space for her to be whatever she needs to be with the resources that she currently has, which brings me to the other one. To other principle, people always make the best choice with what they have. Okay, even for me, sometimes I logically know I should be making a right choice, but I'm not connected to my values. I'm not connected to myself. So then I tell myself, you know what? It's okay with the current. I currently don't have the courage. I currently don't have the self-awareness. That's fine. And just work from that. And that immediately gives me sense of relief, sense of control, sense of empowerment. And then the last one is change is inevitable. That everything will pass, good or bad. If she comes back from her dad and is really, really struggling from what happens over there, I don't have to freak out. And she sees, oh, mom is okay, then I can be okay. Trying to think. Another thing with what I've learned with the coaching is the advice I give to parents or teachers are different now. And I swear I'm not exaggerating. It works immediately. When there's currently there was a little girl, 7 years old, in school, and she would cry hysterically. The situation was, my grandma's gonna come pick me up, but I won't change fast enough and she will leave. And the teacher said she would spend 4 hours crying, trying to tell her, don't worry, I promise she will wait. Da, da, da. And I said, what if when this girl says, I'm really scared, what if you ask, what would happen if grandma leaves? Well, then I don't have anybody to pick me up. You don't have anybody to pick you up. Well, maybe my mom would come. Okay, maybe your mom would come. But what if she won't come? What do you think I would do as a teacher if your mom wouldn't come, your grandma wouldn't come? And then it goes like, oh, I guess you would be here with me. Okay. Instead of telling the girl, then she would ask, when you are scared, where are you feeling it in your body? Oh, I hear you. You feel fear. What is the fear telling you? What does the fear? And so she would switch to asking powerful questions. And she said, oh my gosh, this in 1 week, 3 days in, on Wednesday, she messaged me. She said, this is a completely different girl. That's it from me.
Wow.
I'm just so
Yeah, I
excited
can
about
tell. No, I can tell. We can do a whole episode about that. And actually, Erickson has a whole course about that, about parent as coach. I think kids are very resilient. When I look at my 11-month-old, he has so much courage and so much resilience. And no matter when he bonks his head or, something doesn't work out, he just goes right back to it. And kids can be so strong, so resilient, much more than we can give them credit, than we give them credit for many times. And I full-heartedly agree that there is a rich field of how we can leverage coaching, knowledge with children. Obviously, adapted, so that it works for them, and we're gentle, um, but powerful. Really, really amazing. Um, Okay, I can't believe where the time has gone. Change is inevitable indeed. So, Libby, I just wanted to check in with you on the question of how has coaching helped you build resilience as you were a student and you were kind of gaining all this self-awareness?
Oh, I think for me, the biggest piece was challenging limiting beliefs. Um, so I was very much, get from the outside, always, wanting that feedback, wanting the tap on the head, all of those things. And being able to challenge what I felt I could and couldn't do. When I started the coach training, I never thought I'd ever become an entrepreneur. I never thought I could write and publish a book. I never thought that I would be, traveling internationally for work that I was doing. And I mean, I can't do that right now, but I was before everything, stopped in the world. But I mean, it's that piece of really sort of digging in and challenging those things. Like I always like the whole piece of worthiness and the imposter syndrome that really got teased out during my coach training. I We were doing one exercise where we were getting really into your core values, and worthiness was a place where I was getting stuck. And the the student who was coaching me, and this was in what was module 5 at that
Hmm.
point in time, so it was in the mentoring part. And he asked me, well, what if you were able to, because I had used the whole um, idea of my worthiness being a shack that I wanted everyone to fix, but it never felt right when they did anything on it. And he goes, well, what if you were able to fix up that shack yourself? What would it look like? And it instantly turned into this amazing place with big open doors and windows and amazing things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for other people to shift something within me that's mine to shift. And as soon as I shift it, everything is possible. So it really opened up all of those possibilities. So yeah, just as Laurie had said, it's an inside job. This stuff is created from within and moves out from there, and it is transformative. It's transformative.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, with all of you, I can just feel the passion. I personally share that as well. It's just a humbling experience in one way, but a very meaningful one that really helps you get in touch with yourself and just stand on your own 2 feet and make conscious decisions, like Laurie was saying. So really well worth the effort. All right, so we are at the top of the hour already. There's 1 or 2 questions in chat that we unfortunately won't get to, but feel free, to check them out in the chat, and maybe if you want to write an answer in the chat, that is an option, for example. I just want to do one last really quick round, um, as we are in 2021 with all that brings with it. What is one thing that you want to leave our audience with? What is just one best practice from yourself, or just one resilience hack or tip, that you would like to impart on people? I'll start to give you a little bit of a chance to think of something. Um, so mine would be, this is what I keep coming back to again and again and again in my coaching sessions, in the coach training sessions: be kind to yourself. To me, resilience is very much tied to kindness, not only to other people, but also to yourself. So first of all, if you're kind to other people, if you help other people, that boosts your sense of meaningfulness unbelievably. We are a very social species. So helping others boosts your resilience like you wouldn't believe, or maybe you do believe it and you have experienced it. But the other thing is, be kind to yourself and have that growth mindset that we were talking about. Because I don't cook yet, that progressive aspect of it, it's also this giving yourself time, being kind, being okay with not being perfect yet. That's a big one that I experience every day, and that I just want to everybody to at least have thought about. Um, Libby.
So my last takeaway would be, first, take a breath, and then think, what is great about this problem? And then see what opens up from there.
Thank you. Who else? It doesn't have to be super profound, but just something that you would like to leave people with. Yeah, Laurie.
There we go. It was not coming off honest. So I have to end on a laugh. No, that is me. So my hack is baby steps. Get out of your comfort zone. Make a conscious effort. And it doesn't have to be, and don't make it grandiose. Do something that scares you a little bit, just a tiny bit. And there, in that, you will build resilience. And just to add to that, think about being resilient, but also resilience is also a verb. Do resilience. That's how you become resilient.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Michaela.
I don't have anything profound, but just very specific. For people who are visual like me, if I imagine what resiliency is like, if it's a person, if it's a tree, whatever it is, and then I go online, find a picture that fits that vision so that I can print it out and put it out and see it visually. And second thing, write it out. Let's say if there's a problem and I want to approach it from the point of resiliency, write it out, put it on the piece of paper and put it in front of me somewhere on the table somewhere so that I can literally look at it and take the physical motion of standing back from it and from the position of resiliency, and then see, even maybe writing a piece of paper saying resiliency, step on it, and then see the problem from there.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that sense of practicality. I think that's very, very valuable. Wonderful. And last but not least, Alexandra.
Oh, I'm amazed with these tips and things you are sharing. I would add, if I need to choose only one thing, I would add revisit your values or kind of create your vision. I can share with you guys. I bought this piece. I don't know if you can see it from a trip to India. It's a 40-year calendar. So if we do this all around, we have all the days for the next 40 years. And this was my what if button if I was 40 years from now. And connecting with that sense of what I want to feel, what I will be proud of, what values were important, what were the best decisions, what was really important here, revisiting that. I'm not saying every day, revisit that, because that adjusts you to adjust me at least to be resilient and work on that every day. So that will be my advice. Revisit your values and vision because they will guide you. And with resilience, we can kind of, all you ladies share before, we have the responsibility. With resilience comes responsibility. And if I want to have that feeling somewhere down the line, I need to work for that. No matter if there are good things, bad things, I just need to be resilient and believe that that is down the line. That's it.
Yeah, so we end on belief. Wonderful. Thank you, Alexandra. So this has me Enthusiastic. This has me so motivated. I hope it's the same for you, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much, everybody. If you like this, if you think this might be useful for somebody, please share it with them. These live streams, this particular live stream will be available until the first week of March. After that, it goes a little bit into the vault. So make sure to share it with somebody soon. Just click on the share button right now, give it a like while you're at it. Maybe hit subscribe wherever you are, so that you can catch the next live streams. We're always live at on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So if you need a weekly dose of inspiration, community, or anything along those lines, then I think we proved that we got you covered. Um, if you want to get in touch with any of these ladies here, my best advice would be go to Erickson's page on LinkedIn, for example. Everybody is tagged there in the post, so you can, you also saw their names on screen, so just find them on LinkedIn, reach out if you have any further questions. You can also write me at fabian@erickson.edu, and just learn more about coaching in order to kickstart your resilience journey. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody, and talk to you next week. Thank you so much.